So Chris Reed joined us earlier this morning talking about the Gil Reed Memorial Tournament.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you actually wear a number of hats. So it's not surprising that you could be on our show talking about a number of different things because you've got your Canadian Dad blog.
Yeah.
Then you've got a full-time job and you're in a band and you're a father. And so life is really busy.
It is.
And I did read the article this weekend in the Ottawa Citizen about kind of stepping away, being on vacation.
Yeah.
But still, many people feeling the need to check in, and still they haven't quite fully separated from work.
Yeah, and I think we hear a lot about unplugging and go unplugged for the week, and to me, that it's just not realistic for me with all those things going on at the same time to completely unplug. So, like I said, we went to African Lion Safari, we took the family down, and 4 or 5 times throughout the 7-hour day, I looked down and made sure that, emails weren't exploding, something for the tournament wasn't happening that I needed to be on, just making sure that things were okay. Not necessarily working and going crazy, but checking in to make sure things were still okay.
There was a time, though, when you were writing, and especially too when you're blogging, that forces you to be connected and on your device. But the kids early on said, "Dad, you got to put that away."
Not just the kids. I have a wife as well, and writing about fatherhood and not doing the fatherhood things because of the writing. And the first few months was a big task for me. So something that I've done is kind of curbed it down, set up a schedule. We use a service called Cozy. It keeps all our family scheduled together. My wife and I can update it mobile any way we want so that we can all see it at the same time no matter where we are. And that has narrowed down all the things, like when I'm going to write, when I'm going to do this, when we're going to do that.
And when you can unplug.
And when you can unplug.
One thing that I thought was really neat, and you started to actually play with this new device. I thought this was actually quite brilliant.
This is the HP NVX2. And like when we went to African Lion Safari, it's a 6.5-hour drive, right? So my wife was doing her homework on it. And then midway through, the kids started getting a little crazy, so we just snapped it off, handed it back to the kids, and they were happy for a couple hours. And then on the way back, I got to do my blogging from this thing just sitting in my lap while my wife drove. And it's light, it's perfect, 14-hour battery life. So it's one of those things that's kind of changed the way that I've been able to work while I'm outside of the house.
Well, I think the keyboard too is one thing, but to be able to have access to being able to transport it, lift and go.
Bringing it into, my wife watches Young and the Restless, okay? So not my thing, but to be able to just take this off,
she's off
plug
and doing
in,
it on her own.
got my, I get my Netflix and stuff on it. It's something that's perfect for both of us, and it works out so that,
Is this new on the market?
Yeah, it's fairly new, and it had just come out. So I've never owned a tablet, so for me to, I got it right away, and I was like, oh my God, look at all these things. So it's really changed the way that I've blogged more than anything else.
When you are blogging, and I know you've written some really interesting articles, do you find that we're having an issue though, deprogramming ourselves or being able to step away from the situation and seeing some of these emails aren't critical, I can do them when I get back?
It's a hard balance, and especially with things like Twitter and Facebook. I mean, you're on Twitter, you can just start talking for a minute, and then an hour later, you've been having this conversation and you have no idea what happened. So to be able to recognize the signs, and when it's time to do your work and just focus on that, close those things down, and just get done what you need to get done.
How much time are you allotting in terms of going through and just deleting, the hundreds of emails that might come through?
I mean, even as a blogger after a year, I'm getting, 50, 60 emails a day. Of which 2 of them are things that I will probably read and respond to. So to filter through all that, I mean, you're wasting what, a half an hour just to do that. So it's a lot. You got to find time to do these things that isn't going to interrupt your family life, your work life, when you're doing something else, and everything. I mean, running a tournament, running a charity tournament.
That's crazy.
It's a lot.
Well, and then the statistics are there, that 73% of Canadians planning to stay connected while they are on holiday. So gone are the days of completely unplugging. And it's weird when you actually hear that someone did completely left it at home, didn't even bring the device with them.
I can't even, like I said, I'm not on there 24/7, but to not even be able to check twice or, to see what's going on, and I mad respect for those people, because that's something that I don't know I have the willpower to do.
Well, really interesting stuff. You have some great articles about all of that. You can check out more. CanadianDad.ca is CanadianDad.com. CanadianDad.com if you're looking for some great, fun, insightful articles from a Canadian dad. Thanks so much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.